This photo shows the fire at Wem Town Hall that happened in November last year. It was taken by a local man, and when it was developed, a girl appeared in the burning doorway. Some say this is the image of a ghost, something people have tried to capture since the invention of photography. No wonder it's caused such a stir. But is this photo all that it seems? The first written account of Wem appears in the Domesday Book, and by the 17th century it was a prosperous market town. But the tightly packed timber frame buildings of the time provided the ideal fuel for the Great Fire of Wem on the 3rd of March 1677. Well, this is where the fire started. 14-year-old Jane Churm dropped a candle into some firewood. That ignited a blaze that could be seen 9 miles away. The whole town was destroyed. And if you look, that is just yards away from the 20th century town hall that burned down in November last year. An image of a young girl is said to have emerged from the smoke and flames. An image, some say, is Jane Churm. Tony, you took that now famous photograph. Have you been interested in photography for very long?
Yes, interested for a number of years, but it's only the last so-called months that I've learned to do my own developing.
Now, you didn't develop that particular photo until months after the fire. Why was that?
I didn't finish the roll-off until March, which is when I developed it. I built my own darkroom in the garden here.
All right.
Come look inside.
Yeah, great. After you.
When I got all the negative, I held up to the light, used a magnifying glass, and saw like a spot that they shouldn't have been there. But on a closer look, it seemed to be a head, like a head on top of the railings.
But is there any chance that someone could have been standing on the fire escape at any time during the blaze?
Well, when we arrived, there was a very intense fire going on the first floor of the building. Within minutes, we had to withdraw our crews. It was simply unsafe. The fire was spreading inside so quickly.
Now, if that photograph is to be believed, during the height of the blaze that you've just described, a figure appeared just about here.
Well, at the time the photograph was taken, I think we'd already set a cordon in place to prevent people coming too close to the fire, both our own personnel and members of the community. We were concerned about the structural stability. The fire was so intense. So I don't think anybody could have got here without us noticing anyway and attempting at least to drag them back. It's been very dangerous for them to stand here.
Whatever the explanation might be, you don't think it possible that there was a person here during the fire?
No, I think it's extremely unlikely that anybody could have stood here to have their photograph taken this close to the fire.
The picture's notoriety grew following publication in the local press, and it wasn't long before strange stories began to emerge. Stories that in some way seemed linked to the phantom image. Roger, what was your role here?
Well, working for the company that was called in to try and make the place safe and clean up after it, I came up here the morning after to find a scene of absolute devastation, as you can imagine. The floors were down, there was a film of sooty, oily water on here, and whilst I was looking at where I could tread, there appeared to me 3 or 4 footprints of a child size. They were sort of, one would guess at about 3 or 4, size 3 or 4.
So just very small footprints?
Just very small footprints.
Down here?
Yes, just there.
There must have been security, the firemen were still around. It would have been very, very difficult for a youngster to get up here.
No, well, no, I can't say that a child could get up here. I mean, everything is possible, but it's most improbable that a child could have got here.
Now, it doesn't end there, because some of your colleagues also saw something unusual.
Yes, a little later in the contract, when we were over in the other side of the building, the 2 fellows who had been working throughout the building were coming up here to close down at the end of the day. And they got to this point at the head of the stairs, and they looked up and saw this figure which was standing, hovering, whatever, They're not sure whether it's male, they're not sure whether it was female, but they were certain, absolutely certain, that they saw a figure there.
Were they pulling your leg, do you think?
They weren't pulling my leg. No, they're two honest lads. They would not have repeated it, certainly in public, for fear of being ridiculed, laughed at, taken the mickey out of. No, they wouldn't have done that. What they said they saw was there.